Yo, what's up? This is Trill OG, Bun B, Rebel UGK for life, co-founder of Trill Burgers, and man, DGB just pulled up on me, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We right back at it, y'all. We just pulled up on the living legend himself, y'all. We live here in Houston. We with Bun B. What's up, bro? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Good to see you in the city.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you, welcoming us with open arms here, too.
No worries. The Southern hospitality, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, Bun, I'm going to get right into it, bro. We've been, wanting to sit down with you, for a long time. You definitely inspired, us, who created the platform, you know what I mean, and other, people like us, but then of course, so many artists in the game. So, just definitely appreciate just being able to sit here with you and build with you and get into,
Man, the pleasure's mine, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Port Arthur, Texas, we already, know that's where you from, but can you just speak on, like, what attributes you think, like, from Port Arthur, were able to, like, kind of make you like who you are today?
I mean, survival tactics, really. I mean, we come from a very small town that for a while in the early 1900s, mid 1900s, was a very prosperous town. We were in very close proximity to Spindletop, which is the biggest oil derrick ever in America. So we grew up in an industrial town that still to this day is pretty much built and revolving around refineries. So many people had a lot of opportunity working at the refineries, when we were younger. As we get older, those jobs are not as readily available. And a lot of that money, quite frankly, that is produced in that area does not stay in that area. It's taken out. So the town doesn't really get any residual benefits from having these oil refineries that generate billions of dollars in revenue every year, you know what I'm saying? Not to mention, it's to a certain extent a cancer cluster as well, you know what I'm saying? So we don't have a lot of opportunity staring us in the face. So to really make it in that city, much less being from that city, it's necessary. Like it's not something that you hope you have instilled with you. If you're gonna make it, you got to. And it's one of those towns where if you can figure out how to make $1 in Port Arthur, you can make $1 anywhere in the world, as far as I'm concerned.
Word. So yesterday we sat down with Sauce Walker, and the theme of our conversation ended up being change, and the fact that change is inevitable. And you just kind of spoke to that with just talking about, some of the changes in Port Arthur and, how just the industry and the factories, how that was and how it's different. But then also, just throughout your career, or not even throughout your career, let me ask you this. Did you think that when you started out and had the group PA Militia, that you would, elevate and be like at a place where you're at now? Could you have dreamed that back then?
No, man. I didn't see where my current life is. I didn't see that 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can look back over the last, 33 years and see this constant upward ascension. I've had, moments where it fell down, right? So I've had bad days, bad weeks, bad months, even a bad year or two. But if you look at the span of everything, the trajectory is still, it's going up. You know what I'm saying? And no, I don't think look, I'll be very honest. I never envisioned me living 50 years, much less, still doing this at 50 viably, like still getting paid good money to rap, still being, I have sponsorship deals. That's a new thing for me, a lot of things are just now happening for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm just blessed to still be here, still be alive, and people still be appreciated by people. You know, it's a blessing, man. We still host parties, we still do concerts, and that's consistent. You know what I'm saying? Now we don't do as many of them throughout the year as we normally do because I got other obligations, obviously. Yeah. But no, I mean, the calls are consistent. You know what I'm saying? It's a blessing. And then we still create music as well. I do features all the time. I typically do at least 2 projects a year. You know what I'm saying? One of them being the Trill Static, and then, you know, something else, whether it's, you know, the project with Corey Moe or something of that nature. But we're still trying to stay productive, you know what I'm saying? And it's important to, you know, for me, you know, I look at people like Jay-Z and people like Puffy, and these people, when they create music and put it out, it's not necessarily to make a bunch of money off the music, but it's to keep yourself relevant out here with people, because you got so many other businesses going on, and a lot of those businesses are cultural. You know what I'm saying? Like Trill Burgers is not just a food company, it's a cultural brand, because it's imbued with so much hip hop culture, Southern hip hop culture, UGK culture, Bun B culture, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, like, you going to Trill Burgers and you're truly buying into, like you said, like the UGK brand, the Bun B brand. Like, I mean, I'm going to Trill Burger hoping to get me some food, and I can step out here and feel like I'm Bun, you know?
I mean, look, you go in Trill Burger, the music's gonna be familiar, the feel is gonna be familiar. The way people treat you, I'm known for being a kind, approachable person, easygoing. That's how my staff is, you know what I'm saying? And it's a process, you know, I ain't gonna lie, it's a process to get a Trill Burger. You know, you come on a certain day, it might be, you know, this Houston, like today, it's probably about 103 degrees outside. People was in line when I went there today. So it's a process to get a burger. The drive-thru isn't open as of the day of this interview. We'll be opening it in the next couple of weeks. But the drive-thru ain't open right now. We don't do like Uber Eats and Grubhub and Postmates and shit like that yet, because it would just complicate the kitchen. We only have so much room in this kitchen, but we're looking to move to a bigger place. The location we're at now is really a temporary space, you know what I'm saying? But it allows us to get this burger in people's hands, to build the connection with the community, make sure people realize we can bring them this product consistently. And then so when we move to the next location, which will be a more permanent location, we get to build that out exactly like we want it, so that we have the kind of kitchen that can handle front of house, can handle drive-through, and then potentially delivery and pickup as well.
Word. Now, how did this concept come about? Because, I mean, you know, like, were you just known as like at the barbecues, like with the killer burgers?
No, that wasn't me. Like, I've always been into food. I've had a food blog for the last 10 years. You Gotta Eat This with my partner, Premium Pete. But, I mean, this was brought to me a couple of years ago. I tried the burger. I thought it was, you know, the best burger I'd ever had, but also one of the best meals I ever had. And I think that's what really separates Trill Burgers from any other burger. And to me, by many meals, because burgers aren't even a competition to a Trill Burger. Like a typical hamburger is not really a flavor competition to a Trill Burger. Like, we move way different than the average fast food burger. So our food is really more in competition with like a good steak or like a Branzino or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But only from a place that can deliver that kind of food consistently. You know what I'm saying? Because if you eat a Trill Burger, let's say you live in Houston, you have a Trill Burger on Monday, and Tuesday you want to go somewhere for dinner, and there's a lot of different places you can go for dinner. Let's say you don't want another burger. Obviously you don't want 2 burgers in a row. But that meal has to also be as good as a Trill Burger, and there's not a lot of food out there, quite frankly, that's as good as a Trill Burger. Now, if you never had a Trill Burger, you don't really understand what I'm saying. But if you had a Trill Burger, you realize that if you wake up one day and you want a Trill Burger and it's not available, then we're not eating a burger that day. But then you're trying to figure out, well, I'm in the mood for something that's gonna be really satisfying. So now you gotta look at any meal different. That's what makes Trill Burger so Trill.
No, that's interesting, because I haven't had one yet, and so literally the first thing that I ask when I ask people who have had is, I'm like, is it really good or is it just a hype? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, just want to know. But, you know, people are saying that, you know, they're really good.
Look, I'll be very honest, right? Trill is bigger than me, right? I didn't start it. We helped to popularize the term, but the term existed before UGK, as you know, it existed. So the honoring of the term and what it represents goes beyond really just the group and the music. It really represents the small town of Port Arthur that we're from and how we identify. So I got to honor all of those things when I even put that on the brand. You know what I'm saying? And so we got to really be prepared to always go above and beyond, right? Yeah. So that's why I say a Trill Burger. Look, a Trill Burger is not a cheap burger either. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, this is comparable, honestly, in my mind, to steak, to fish, as far as the type of flavor combinations you get and the satisfaction that you get from the meal. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So we just playing different over here with this brand. We playing different.
That's what's up, bro. And it is dope, you know, to see you, you know, doing that and being a visionary, you know, with this and stepping into a lane that, you know, and creating something, you know what I mean? Because it's easy to, you know, maybe buy, and no knock to anybody that does buy a franchise, I mean, because that's amazing too. But to create something, building it from the ground up and creating an experience is, you know, just really dope. So.
Well, when you put Trill on something, there's an expectation to it, right?
That's true.
And, you know, when I look at everything that me and Pimp built up and everything that we've been able to create and contribute to the culture and the community, it's not worth trying to sell some burgers and make a little quick money to jeopardize that reputation, because it's solid. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't have put Trill on this burger, and I wouldn't have put it on my back like this if it wasn't the real. So, and to be quite honest, if it was hype, this burger is 2 years old. So, you know, this concept is 2 years old. Right. If this was hype, we wouldn't still have lines out the door. Yeah. And we got lines out the door pretty much every day.
Nah, for sure. And
I ain't there every day. So it's not like I'm in the back cooking up the burgers and you can come and no matter when you come and buy Trill Burgers, I'm in there. It ain't like that. People, at some point the burger's got to live on its own, because I can't be in there every day. Yeah, let's say we open, let's say in 10, 12 years, there's 30 restaurants around the country, right? I can't be at every one every day.
Right.
So the motherfucking burger, just to be frank, got to be a good burger on its own. Yeah, that's why we're not scared to take it nowhere and present it to nobody.
Yeah. And you already know, man, like, you make a new restaurant and you are marketing to black folks, they're going to tell you how your food tastes.
Oh, absolutely. and we welcome all the criticism, right? and look, we know it's hot outside, the weather is not agreeable, and it takes a little while to get to the burger, but we have very, very, very few complaints about the actual burger. You know, we do anywhere between 1,700 to 2,000 burgers in a day, maybe more on the weekend. And, you know, we may get 4 or 5 wrong, but every day we trying to figure out how to get that number down. You know what I'm saying? But as far as a restaurant goes, you know, to put out that much product, you know what I'm saying, and have that very small of a number of people not having the 100% experience that they want. And a lot of times it's just things that they didn't know, like, you know, well, I didn't like the onions. Well, you could have got it without the onions. I don't eat pickles, you know, or with the sauce or whatever. We're ready to accommodate. We're ready to accommodate anybody. And it's a lot easier if people let us know they're having a bad experience in the restaurant. Don't go home, leave with the burger, and talk shit online, because I can't fix it at that point. You know what I'm saying?
No, I can dig it. So I want to tap back into what you were talking about when you said that even the last 10 years of your life, you know, wouldn't have seen the trajectory. I think that that's super important, you know, for like our viewers and for our viewers to hear and understand, because so many of us put that pressure on ourselves, like, oh man, I gotta, you know, have $1 million by the age of 25, or I gotta do this by 21, or I gotta do this by 30. And, you know, like, you look at some of the most successful people. I mean, I've seen like how like Charlie Murphy, he got, you know, his popularity came like in his 40s, 50s. You know what I mean? You hear about like a lot of, you know, CEOs that they didn't get their big break until, you know, they were older. So that's just a testament just to, and not calling you older, but just saying.
No, look, I am older. I'm comfortable with it. I ain't tripping. The only thing you can say about an old head is you're a survivor. Hey, I'm not tripping on that. But even, you know, we can make it very simple for your viewers. Samuel Jackson, right, did not become a household name till his 40s.
Right.
He was respected within his craft, you know what I'm saying? But it wasn't really until I think Jungle Fever, right, when he played Gator, where he actually really broke out. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people, man, don't give up. You don't really know when your time is, and don't let nobody tell you when your time is. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the reality. You could be doing some shit today that ain't really for today. You might be a couple years ahead of your time. And maybe the world got to catch up with you because you on some next shit.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So the beauty of entertainment now, is, and particularly with content, is that you can present yourself to the whole world at once. right? And move past your immediate circle and your immediate region and your state and even your immediate language. You know what I'm saying? And present music out to the world, and you never know who's gonna receive it, and you might blow up big in Sweden first,
right?
And then come back around to it. So, you know, if you got it on your mind that that's what you got it to do, and I tell it to people that I don't think is ready. I listen to people like, I don't think you're ready right now, but what the fuck do I know? Because people told me I wasn't, right? People told me we should stop, that we were making would never appeal to the masses. And I hear my music literally played all over the world. You know what I'm saying? Even in clubs where they don't know I'm in the club, I've heard my music played before, you know. And you know, for me, if you hang on and you see it through, first of all, you know, people got to stop looking at misconceptions. Everybody want to be a millionaire and think you got to reach 1 million people. That's not true.
Right.
You don't have to see 1 million people to make $1 million. Right. You just got to be consistent with the people in front of you. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So if people will buy an album, they'll probably buy a T-shirt, maybe a lighter. You know what I'm saying? And you know, a baseball cap, or some different shit like that. Yeah. And as you get to know your audience better, you can start fine-tuning stuff to them. Maybe they don't want a lighter. Maybe they're not big smokers, but they're big drinkers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So get them a bottle opener, right? There's all these different ways of engagement that you could do with your people. Set up the YouTube page and get some subscribers. Right. You don't need 1 million subscribers to make $1 million off content. You just got to be consistent. Yeah. Like, find you a group of people that fuck with you, cater to those people directly, let them use word of mouth to spread you to friends and families and like-minded people on their page and shit like that. And just give it time, man. Just give it time. But it's gonna be very hard for you to make progress watching other people's progress. Yeah. Because maybe they light shine faster, but maybe it won't burn as bright and for as long.
Nah, that's real. That's why I always tell people, like, you can never look at somebody else's, you know, road to their success, because, you know, what if they get to the success like that, but then lose it like that?
Yeah. Look, it's good to look at people for inspiration. Right. It's good to take notes where they can make sense to what you're doing, but you cannot try to copy somebody's path, right? Copy and paste don't work in real life.
Right, right. Yeah, no, that's real. So I was having an interesting conversation with a friend of mine, Toyan, who used to be at Apple Music. We were talking about, you know, how in the years of, you know, selling music out the trunk, you know what I'm saying, whether it's tapes or CDs, and being able to move around, having tangible goods, you know, doing the hand to hand, and being an artist that could make some money, you know what I'm saying? But now everything is digital. So, you know, an artist records their music, puts it up for download, but then they're getting a fraction of a penny. So she and I were talking about just the difficulty it is for artists in this day and age maybe to make money the way that artists like yourself were able to make money with tangible goods. And I'm wondering what your thought is on that.
So here's the reality, right? The only way you could really make like decent money as an up and coming artist was staying independent as long as possible, building up your base, and then, like I said, it's always been about consistency, right? There really is no difference between presenting yourself in person with a physical product and presenting yourself online with a digital product. The only problem for the consumer is whether or not you can actually replicate it, right? Like, that becomes a thing. And that's the thing with physical products too, because you still got to go and see motherfuckers on stage and shit like that. Yeah. But the problem is the language is different, right? So it's easy to be charismatic and persuasive to people in public, but that shit don't always translate digitally, right? Through posts and everything like that. It's really not easy to create charisma through the written word in that sense with people. And so a lot of people get a lot of action and energy by being interesting, right? Going live, talking, letting people into their world. Like, nowadays, it's really, selling the music is a part of it, but it's not actually creating great music is not really the biggest part of selling music. It's really about selling your personality and your character and selling yourself to people. Because you don't even have to have the best music out, but if you're the most interesting person, people are gonna show up. Yeah. That's why YouTubers can go and host clubs, right? Because they're interested to some people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's really just, again, it's really just about locking in on the audience and being consistent and being patient. But I do advise people, like being an up and coming artist is not an excuse for not paying your bills and honoring your responsibilities. So humble yourself. If you ain't really popping like that, go drive Uber like Trilly Poke did from Houston, who still does collaborations with some of the biggest artists in town, and made his way until he could get himself into a better situation. Humble yourself out here. I had the #1 record in Houston, and I was selling soul food at my partner RBJ's restaurant in Port Arthur, dropping off soul food dinners, trying to sell 3 for $10 in the hood to niggas, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes you just gotta humble yourself until you can get there. I know a lot of people say fake it till you make it, but that's easy to say until you get caught faking it.
That's real. That's real. Yeah, because as soon as you get caught faking it, that's gonna take you 10 steps backwards.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we coming up on 30 years, the anniversary for Super Tight.
Yeah.
Man, how does that feel?
So we just had the 27-year anniversary for Riding Dirty a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just the fact that this music still resonate with people. Like I still go on stage. Like we started adding 316s. That was the thing that came up. You know, that's one of Corey Mo's favorite records is 316s, and he was like, man, y'all don't even do 316s for the longest. He's like, y'all don't do 316s, and then we added it, but he didn't know we added it. Then he came to a show, and he was like, man, y'all did 316s. So, every now and then we cycle in some of these older records just to make sure that, certain parts of the catalog, they're not only being represented, but still connect with people like we think it do. Obviously the bigger records connect with everybody in the room, but I go to cities where women get excited to hear murder.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's good to be able to dig in the archives and pull some shit out, even just for a couple of days. Like when I go to the Midwest, East Coast, I try to put a lot more up-tempo shit into the show, more energy, because I know that's what the region kind of calls for. Yeah. But I also got to do that in Florida too, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and Texas, Oklahoma, I can kind of get away with that slow shit because it's part of, like, slow riding and laid back is part of those lifestyles. But we just be prepared to, pull out different things. Like, hey, we in Louisiana, man. Cut on that Break You Off Sutton. You know what I'm saying? Cut on that Fiend. You know what I'm saying? That record. So I can, and it's good to be able to adjust in the moment, in the city, read the room.
Where I'm from Milwaukee, and man, like you and like Boosie, and I feel like just street music in general is like just loved so heavily by my city. But like, I've seen you live up there and the city was going crazy for you. You know what I'm saying? Songs like Supposed to Bubble, like that's one of my favorite joints off the first album.
Thanks, man.
Like, it's so many though. Front, back, side to side. Like, I could go through the whole album, literally, like for real. So one part that I really like about your career is that from the beginning, you've always reached out to unknown artists and unknown people from early in your career. I feel like you were one of the first artists that was collabing with Cash Money. You were one of the first outside artists that was collabing on all the No Limit stuff. And then even till today, you still lending your hand out and doing features with some of the up and coming artists. Like, why have you always been that way? You know what I mean?
Well, look, we had people that sold into us when we was coming up. You know, people like Too Short, people like Jay Prince and Scarface give us a lot of game. Even the older OGs like the K Renos of the world was always in our corner.
Favorite rap.
For whenever we needed them. And so I always tried to make myself accessible to the next generation, right? But we started to understand that because of what we represented and how deeply it resonated with these hoods across the South and eventually around America, that if we ended up on somebody's project, it was basically like a cosign saying that we were cool with them, that we kind of saw something in them that related to what we represented. And it really cut out a lot of heavy lifting for people. So while it was a good thing to be able to do for artists, we had to be very careful about who we gave those cosigns to. You know what I'm saying? So we had to try to pick people of good character. In the early days, it was really easy when it wasn't a bunch of people rapping, when it wasn't literally like millions of rap songs available. It was easy to do the background check on people and be like, hey, y'all ever heard of these dudes? No, I don't know. Oh yeah, I know Buddy them doing something out here. But now it's so many different people and there's like microcosms within hip hop, right? So there's a genre, and then there's a subgenre, and then there's a hyper-localized regional subgenre of that. You know what I'm saying? So somebody could actually be doing something, but they so new, and it's not in the physical world where you could see like people fucking with them. Like they're not really doing the big shows in the nightclubs, but maybe they over at a college space where the hood don't connect with it. So they might be doing something, but I don't see it, kind of a thing. Well, you 42, bro, you ain't online like that. You wouldn't know. No, do you have a TikTok account? Right? So you got to really know where to look depending on how people are moving nowadays. So I don't knock it or try to judge it until I see it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you know, it's not just my personal legacy. You know, anything I do reflects on Pimp as well, and it's UGK legacy. And now as a businessman, any bad moves I make, you know, it's particularly bad judges of character, reflect on my business partners as well.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah, so we got to be even more critical about who we let attach themselves to this shit.
Yeah, nah, for sure. And that it definitely was a cosign, because when I seen a E40 track listing and seen y'all name on it, or like I said, when, you know, Cash Money was new, when No Limit was new, but you saw Bun B of UGK, you know, along with Yuck Mouth, and it was a couple of names that you would see, and you like, yeah, these some real ones right here.
And we knew we could help people cut through some of the bullshit. Now, at the end of the day, you still had to figure a lot of stuff out on yourself, on your own. But it was easy for us to like help the homies. I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna jump on this track, or Pimp be like, man, I'm gonna throw y'all some music. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And just try to help people who maybe didn't have the same pool of resources get a little further along. And for some, you know, for some people, all it took was 16 bars. That's not a lot, in my opinion, you know. And if you pick right, if you pick the right people to sew into, that shit come back. And I'm seeing that a lot of those relationships reciprocate right now. You see people that I show love to early parts of their career come back around. Now they some of the biggest stars in the world, and they bring that shit over to the burger spot. You know, so it's beautiful.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, saw Drake, you know, come in the spot and, you know, embrace the spot. I mean, that's somebody who I think of off top.
Look, it's, you know, if most people in my position that have the relationship I have with, like, let's say Drake, right, would be like, why you ain't doing no songs with Drake? You could get a verse from Drake probably anytime you want. Yeah, I probably could, but I mean, I don't really do music like that, right? I make it out periodically, not because I have to, but because I want to. But that ain't always what people want to hear, right? Now, there's some overlap between people that like Bun B and people that like Drake. But do the majority of Drake fans, are they sitting around waiting for a Bun B record with him? Probably not. Are the majority of Bun B fans waiting on a record with him and Drake? Probably not. You know what I'm saying? But there's different ways that Drake and I can collaborate in different spaces where I can benefit from the influence that somebody like Drake has. And so him coming to the store was a concerted effort, because I was like, look, he was like, yo, I'm coming to get a burger. I'm like, well, look, y'all probably gonna want to come after 9, because if you come during the day, you know, it's gonna be a whole thing in there. He's like, yeah, we know. That's why we want to come. We want to come and fuck it up for you, kind of a thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's a blessed place to be in. You know what I'm saying? And so those are other people that are sewing into this brand to try to help me get somewhere. I got to take them into consideration when I do this type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Because Khaled didn't put his name on it, and Drake didn't put his name on it. I can't do no goofy shit. And they be like, damn, we tried to help the OG out. Look what he did, you know? So I'm just trying to be smart about this shit.
Yeah, no, that's what's up, man. And it just shows that it's genuine, you know what I mean? And like, you're not in these relationships to be an opportunist, because if that was the case, then you could be trying to get a tape done with bruh, or be trying to, but it's like, nah, like, you know, just not on that. I mean, but that's just the testament of just being a real one, and too much ain't even.
Look, I'm an artist. I know what it's like. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be a burden to nobody that I don't have to be. And my life ain't dependent on. I'd be different if I was in a different situation, and that Drake song could really turn things around for me. And for many people, a verse from Drake could literally change their life. I've already had a couple, but this, you know what I'm saying? But it's this burger that can change my life. And so that's what I need Drake for. Come blow these burgers up. And he was more than happy. And I didn't even call him an ass. He was like, we coming to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Word. Yo, so one of your lines, man, I use on a regular basis when my partners talk shit about my blunts. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's, What is it?
Some of my sweets be tight. Some of my sweets be fucked up. But all my sweets gonna blow. So Killer Smoke gets sucked up.
Like, man, come on, bro. Like,
and that wasn't even for me, because anybody that know me, you know, I roll a pretty good blunt.
Yeah.
Well, used to. I don't really smoke cigars like that no more as far as weed is concerned. But no, man, my blunts was always tight. But again, I'm making music that people can relate to. An average person blunt is probably just good enough for them to get through.
For sure.
But I came up with a lot of dudes where you have to put a finger on
right. They got that
a couple places. I've seen dudes fuck up a blunt, try to like put a joint paper over it to patch it. I've seen some goofy shit.
Yo.
You know what I'm saying? Just let me know you're amateur.
Yeah,
you know?
For real. That's like almost like the new thing though, is that I see a lot of cats like rolling blunts and then they roll a paper over on top of it. And I'm like, man, between backwoods, just having so many of them veins and
see, and I'm a swisher dude, right? So I don't even know. I've tried to roll backwoods occasionally. Sometimes if you're in New York and you're in a venue or a club and you need a roll up, that's typically all motherfuckers gonna have. Mm-hmm. So you gotta try to make it work. And that shit, I don't know how motherfuckers do that on a daily basis. I be trying to pull the little stems and shit. I tear half the leaf. I get frustrated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot easier now with papers and cones.
Yeah, nah, most definitely. You put together one of the biggest shows in Houston hip hop history at the Houston Rodeo back last year. Can you speak on that? Because, you know, when I hear Houston Rodeo, I just never thought that I'd hear Bun B and, you know, all these other artist names that I was hearing, you know, that you brought out there when you did that takeover. So can you, you know, kind of speak on that and how that came about?
Well, I mean, it was, you know, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is probably the most Houston shit that we do here, because it's one space that everybody in the city is welcome in, no matter where you're from, who you are, what you look like, or what you represent. Like, it's where everybody comes and kind of, you know, leaves the typical labels behind, and we're just Houstonians, right?
And I saw this the biggest rodeo in the world.
Yeah. And this was last year, was like the 91st anniversary of the rodeo. So it's been here forever, right? Mm. But I'm the first black man from here to ever headline. Mm. And so when we started, you know, when they afforded me the opportunity, it was like, we gave you a day at the rodeo, what would you do with it? Right. And so I started trying to put together some really big, fantastical show with all kind of people. Mm-hmm. And my wife was like, no, we don't got to do all that. Just bring Houston people out. And she's like, I'm sure the city will come out for the city. And I mean, we ended up getting over 73,000 people in the building for that show, and really created one of the biggest cultural moments this city has ever experienced. And everybody had proximity to it. Like, you didn't have to be black. You didn't have to be a cowboy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have to be super into hip hop music, but you got to be a part of Houston culture in that moment. And everybody, they hear the music, whether they like it or not, they hear the music, they see the people, the cars going down the street, all of that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But to bring it into that space and to really be appreciated and to really be seen and heard and received in such a grand manner, man, it's probably easily, you know, probably the biggest thing I've ever done in my life. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, as an artist, you know, to at that stage in my career, you know, 29, 30 years in the game, and to be able to fill up a football stadium at home on your, you know, on your cultural contributions, that's a big thing for me. Yeah, no, for sure. And you curating that, I mean, that's amazing. No, thank you. Again, like I said, it was my wife's idea, so it was definitely a group effort. That's what's up. Shout out to her. You know what I mean? That was definitely dope. Now, is the rodeo here in Houston something that, you know, like that everyone kind of experiences? Everybody goes. Oh. Everybody goes. Okay, so it's a 3-week endeavor. Mm-hmm. They get literally 100 to 100, anywhere from 100 to 150,000 people every day. Gotcha. It's something that everybody in Houston goes to. It's still one of the safest places in town. Yeah. Not many places in America where you could drop your kids off somewhere and pick them up at night and know they're gonna be safe. The rodeo provides that. It's one of the most secure places in the city. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's Super Bowl level security at the rodeo, because they know a lot of people, right? High numbers, more people than a football game would hold come, right? So even though the concert is separate, like, people go to the rodeo, which is basically the majority of it is a carnival outside. The majority of the people go to that. And then there's also a concert inside the football stadium. But you don't you don't buy a ticket to the rodeo and go to the concert. Like, you got to buy a ticket to the concert like any other concert.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, so it's not like 75,000 people went to the rodeo that day and then came and seen me. No, like maybe 100 and something thousand people went to the rodeo that day. But 73,000 people bought a ticket to go inside and see the show.
Now, that's some perspective right there.
Yeah, a lot of people think that the rodeo just gets a bunch of people every day. They come and they do shit, and then they all go inside and see a concert. Yeah. No, it's still a concert.
Wow.
So you got to secure a ticket.
You got to be intentional.
Absolutely. Wow. And now, because we've done it twice, so we did more people the second time we did it.
Yeah.
So now it's like one of the most anticipated parts of the rodeo. And the burger was the biggest food draw.
Right.
The food vendor draw up at the rodeo as well. So, it's a beautiful thing. And I get to sell merch as well. So It's a win-win-win.
Yeah. No, that's what's up, man. Yeah. When I was seeing that, I was definitely wondering, like, now, do folks go to the rodeo just normal, or is everybody there because of? No.
I mean, look, there's concerts every night, right? So I think it's 21 days long. There's a concert in the football stadium every night, and it's at least 55,000 people, and sometimes up to 75,000. Typically, the floor is only for the stage, and everything is in the seats. But last year they brought George Strait out, and they took the dirt off the ground, and so George Strait, they put 80,000 people in there to go see George Strait.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, does the rodeo So it's just. Is it in other parts of Texas as well?
No.
Or is it? Okay.
No, this is the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. It's singular in the world.
Got it.
It's also the home of the World Barbecue Championship as well.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this is the world's biggest rodeo. And it's low key, it's the biggest music festival too.
Yeah.
Because it's 21 days of concerts in a football stadium.
Yeah.
And they do over like 2.2 million tickets sold every year.
Yeah.
But that's every single day. There's a football stadium concert every single day.
Wow. So tapping back into the music, I know I was pointing out how, you had worked with Cash Money for years early on. So you were around for early Lil Wayne.
Of course.
Did you see what Birdman saw back then when he was, really pushing him, putting him out front? Even on Rap City, you would hear him saying, "I bet the house on Youngin." No.
I was there at the first implementation of Lil Wayne as a hot boy, right? So I was there for the whole ride. And, this was something that was very obvious in the moment, that this kid was really good for his age, and the fact that he wasn't using, he couldn't curse in the first couple of years, but still had the gangster tone and the intention behind it actually worked. And, Birdman was just about trying to nurture the talent. He realized he had a really, really good talent on his hands. And so we discussed a couple of things. I gave him some advice on it. He took some of that advice, and we actually were able to create an environment that was conducive to him just not only wanting to be a better rapper, but having everything he needed to become a better rapper. But creating an environment that was conducive to a motherfucker only wanting to just get in there and rap and beat up the microphone day after day after day. Yeah. We made it his comfort zone. So when he wasn't in the studio rapping, he didn't feel comfortable. Yeah. So to this day, he's still at his best in the studio. That's the best version of him, I think, that he presents to the world, outside of being a father. I've also known him for many years. Great dad. Right. Really, really great dad. To be as big as he is, as famous as he is, to have the level of demand on his life that he has, still everything for the kids. He's a really, really great parent.
Word.
You never hear any Lil Wayne's baby moms complaining.
Right, no,
never. He's a very hands-on father.
Yeah, that's what's up. And that's super important, being in this lifestyle where, so much of your time is taken from you, it's super important to be intentional, with your family and with the people that you love.
And it's not really, you have to really think, it's not really about money, because his baby mother's, you look at Nivea, she's an accomplished artist. She has her own revenue stream. Toya has her own revenue stream. So It's not like him spending money makes him a good dad. It's about the time and the intention of the time that he spends with his kids. And I don't think that kind of thing gets talked about enough about Lil Wayne. Besides him being, the greatest rapper alive, he's probably one of the greatest dads alive.
Word. And I mean, I think that principle right there is just important across the board, because when you think about memories that kids have of your parents or your pops, if you grew up with your pops or whatever, or just anybody, the most memories that you have is that time spent more than like those items that were bought. At least if you not a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's presence over presents, right?
Absolutely. So, Bun, like, you've been a part of a lot of barbershop talk, I would say, on the tip of your lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, like when people talk about like who are some of the best lyricists in the South, you know what I'm saying? Like you definitely are a part of, or just even best lyricists, period. I don't want to just lock you in just to the South. But can you talk about just like the importance of like actually talking about things with substance, and like even when you're telling stories, like actually, giving us, these stories?
Well, look, it's really about your respective worldview, right? People can't really and shouldn't really talk about shit they don't know about, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that I've done a really, really good job of really staying in the realm of knowledge that I know, that I've accumulated in this world. A lot of these young niggas, they don't know enough yet to be able to talk to people like that, right? Mm-hmm. I think we put a lot of pressure on young people, just because he's 21, and he got millions of fans and millions of dollars, he's still learning, right? He's still young in the game, young in this world. And I don't think we should be demanding as much from people who just don't have that level of life experience. I don't recommend young people talk about politics if they don't know about that shit. Don't get involved with voter registration drives. Don't let nobody talk to you about none of that shit until you know about it. Because somebody gonna throw a microphone in your face and you're not gonna be able to answer all the questions, and you're gonna look crazy. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I encourage artists to learn more, right? To try to educate themselves more about the world they live in. And if they do find something that piques their interest, engage in it. If you do see something that draws your concern, then learn about it and find out who you need to connect with to try to act on it before you put yourself in front of the cameras, right? Make sure that you got somebody that you can talk to about these things that are not trying to exploit you by putting you on the front line, right? But want to make sure that, you get your information the right way to where it sticks with you, right? I'm just not trying to send you like a PDF file with some talking points, right? Like we sit down and have some real conversations so you can have a deeper understanding about this shit, and then go on and do your own homework. Don't listen just to what I say. You can listen to my perspective and my view, but draw your own conclusion. And then when you really feel like you're informed enough to go out and speak on that shit, then go and speak on it. But know that something come with that shit. No matter how much you know about it, something come with that shit. Once you stand up for something, you standing against something. So and so you got to be prepared for any type of backlash.
Yeah. Word. And with the wordplay, like where were some of your influences, coming in the game?
I just read a lot.
Word.
I just read a lot of shit.
Is it true? Let me ask you this. I don't mean to cut you off, but I heard that some years back, some years back in your career, that on a random day, if you walked into a Barnes and Noble, that you could find Bun B in there, like chilling by himself, like reading a book or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, because I used to be able to get there was a time when like Barnes and Nobles and places like that, they had periodicals, like magazines. They had newspapers from all over the world. They had books of every genre, right? But then they also had music. They had DVDs, and a lot of those DVDs were limited edition DVDs. Some of them were overseas type shit. So it was a lot of different knowledge and culture I could get in that one place. So I would spend a lot of time in like a Barnes and Noble or Borders or shit like that, because there was a lot of cultural interaction I was able to connect with in those spaces. And it would be a place where I could go and spend an extended amount of time with nobody looking to see me there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it would be very random if somebody recognized me in a bookstore.
Word. Right. Yeah. Because unfortunately, the audience might not be.
No, not at all.
So I remember watching The Box, music television you control. seeing the Wood Wheel video, and you came on there talking about smoking on bionic, wasn't smoking on bionic, you're bionic, chronic, it's so ironic. Sipping gin and tonic, supersonic like Johnny Mnemonic. Man, when you said that, Bun, I'm talking about like, that's a part of like where that barbershop chatter was coming, and that's where, you know, all just, I mean, it was just like, man, the word.
I go back and I can't believe that I didn't insert phonics in there somewhere.
Huh.
I don't know why I let that slip. That was another onyx I could have thrown in there. But yeah, no, I mean, I just wanted to be different. I always wanted to be seen by the best as comparable. Yeah. Right. And I got to a place where literally a lot of my peers hold me in high regard. Mm-hmm. And that was the only thing you could really ask for at the time when we started. It wasn't about getting rich. Motherfuckers were not rich when we started rapping. Mm-hmm. And only a handful were actually famous in this world. So we just wanted to be respected by the community, right? The hip hop community, and be representative of the culture and not be looked at crazy or have they tell me, man, that shit weak when you walk down the street and shit like that. And then eventually you understand the business and the economics of it and start trying to create a situation that allows you to benefit off of it, you know? And I'm just glad that, you know, 30 plus years later, people still appreciate the music, people still appreciate the performances, people still appreciate the person, you know what I'm saying? And that I've been able to transition a lot of this cultural equity into a place where when I couldn't benefit from it fully before, I can now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just really out here just, you know, I try to let my lyrics at the very least, but my movements at the most, dictate who I am to the world and try to influence and inspire people. Because there's a lot of people made a lot of dope shit that made me want to make dope shit. Yeah. And so I hope that the dope shit I made make people want to make dope shit.
Word. Nah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Nah, Bun, we appreciate you letting us pull up on you. You got any shout outs or any words that you want to tell the people before we get up out
I just want to thank everybody that's been down with the UGK movement, that's been helping me build this Trill shit to some worldwide shit. Repping UGK for life. As always, long live the pimp. UGK for life, for sure. And right now we got Trill Burgers on our back, man. You come to Houston, pull up on us, man. Come get you the best burger in America.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, again, appreciate you letting us pull up on you, Bun.
No, man, no problem.
Yes, sir. Much love.
Thank y'all, man.
Yeah, for sure.
You've been rolling solo, time to get down with the team.